Welcome to Hockey Inside Out. I'm your host, Adam Susser, coming to you from downtown Montreal with Chris Nilan and Andie Bennett, and we have a special guest joining us this week, Gazette sports columnist Jack Todd, who, contrary to popular belief, is actually not my dad. Just met for the first time today, I swear. Let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. Number 1, do you think Max Pacioretty takes too much heat from the fans and the media? Number 2, would it be a good move to replace Paul Byron with Pacioretty on the top line? Number 3, our HIO viewer question of the week asks, how much of a raise do you think it would take to sign Galchenyuk to a long-term deal? And number 4, should Michel Therrien consider making Thomas Plekanec a healthy scratch? Let's start the show. If you read any media or listened to most hockey fans in Montreal talk about Max Pacioretty's performance so far this year, you'd think the man was having some sort of on-ice meltdown. The fact of the matter is that Pacioretty has 15 points in 23 games, but only 5 of those points are goals. This would explain why so many people are up in arms, because that's kind of what the team depends on him for. On the bright side and more rational side, there are 59 games left to play in the season, so he's really just a hat trick away from being on pace for a 30-goal year. What do you think? Is Max Pacioretty taking too much heat from the fans and the media?
Listen, I think he is taking a little bit too much, but for things you wouldn't think so. And a lot of it has to do with his body language. He doesn't play physical. He's never been a physical player. They question his captaincy. Is he a good leader? I think a lot of people go back to PK getting traded and they blame it on him. So some of it could come from that, where really the blame for PK getting traded is PK himself. And as far as Max, when we talk about goals, he got 5 goals, 10 assists. You got to look at it like a Cy Young Award winner. If Max had 10 goals and 5 assists and 15 points, everything would be fine. Mm-hmm. But it's 5 goals and 10 assists, and people don't want to see Max getting assists. They want to see him getting goals.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the way he's played. You saw last night, there are guys all over the league that are struggling at this point in the season. Corey Perry's still stuck on 4 goals. Couldn't buy one against the Habs in Anaheim Tuesday. I just think it's reached the point with Max where you have to accept him for what he is. He's 28 years old. He's not going to change. And from what I know of him, some of which I've learned from people at this table, he's very sensitive and he takes criticism to heart, which isn't really a bad thing. But in his case, it's counterproductive.
It's not a great thing in this city.
It's not a great thing,
especially
but
when you're captain of the Montreal Canadiens, the expectations are high of what they want Pacioretty to do and the talent that's in there and the body that he plays in. I mean, I don't think he's taking too much criticism. He's a big boy. He can take it. He's the captain. You're going to be a lightning rod. And when I heard people speak about Pacioretty, his performance last year, then I thought he was taking a little too much heat, because I'm thinking he was leading goal scorer on that team last season. I mean, he was a big part of why they were having success when they were having success. Now the start to the year, I mean, they've moved this guy, and he's not alone. You have Thomas Plekanec, Brendan Gallagher, a few guys in there, but they've been moving him around to try and get him going for the last 20 games. I mean, some of that heat is warranted right now.
Do you think he'll get a 30-goal season? He'll have one?
I mean, I think he probably will make that, but I think it's going to be a struggle for a little while until they figure out.
I think he'll score 30. And like you said, they've moved him around a little bit here. It's nice to get comfortable and play with a centerman that you're used to. And Plekanec's that guy he played with for a while. He played with DNA for a while. He was with Galchenyuk at the end of the year. I think he may get on that Galchenyuk line at some point here. Paul Byron, listen, I love the kid. He works his butt off, but he's not a first line.
Yeah, there were 3 or 4 times last night when you were thinking, oh my God, if only they had a big, strong, fast left wing over there instead of Byron getting pushed off the puck. And
so do you think it's only a matter of time before they do move Pacioretty to the top line?
At some point.
I think so.
I think at some point they have to do it. If they don't, I think they're hurting the team. And as far as last night, really showed, listen, they got character guys. They brought in Weber, they get bigger. And they got Shaw, he's a character guy, get all that. But and Radulov. But even if they get out of the East, they're gonna have a tough time winning out West, because they're gonna get pushed around. They're gonna get chewed up in their own end by bigger, stronger forwards when they start to lean on you, bang on you and cycle on you, you're going to have your problems.
It almost seems like the obvious move to put Pacioretty next to Radulov and Galchenyuk. How come they haven't done it already?
Well, because they're having success. I mean, why are you going to break up a line that's like your only line that's generating offense right now? And Michel Therrien has spoke glowingly about Paul Byron and what he brings to that line and how he's helping Radulov and Galchenyuk. When, I mean, really, if you look at it, it's Radulov that's powering the success of that line. So, I'm torn a bit because it would be great to see Pacioretty there, but then how do you split up a line that seems to have some good chemistry like they do?
They do, but I think the game in Anaheim showed you that the limitations of Byron there. You're against one of those big, strong Western teams.
True.
You're gonna have 3 more games against those people, and if Byron continues to have a bit of trouble with that kind of physical game, then I think maybe he makes a move when they come home.
Okay, it's time for our HIO viewer question of the week. Remember, if you have a question that you want our panel to discuss, send it to the email address on your screen now. If your question's good enough, we'll discuss it, and we've been getting some pretty good questions, so thanks. This week's question comes to us from Alain Renaud from Saint-Félicien, Quebec, who asks, now that Galchenyuk is in the midst of his best NHL season, how much of a raise over his current $2.8 million salary will it take to sign the restricted free agent to a long-term contract?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, that's a good figure.
It's not going to be PK numbers, but if you're trying to get him signed for 6 or 7 years, I would think it would take 6 or 7 per year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking for easily $7 million a year, and
How do you fit that?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Patches is going to be due.
Patch has still got some time left, but Carey Price is going to be due, and that's the big one. You're going to have to save some money there to pay the goaltender. But Alex Galchenyuk is going to ask for $7. Is he worth that? After putting up, and we still have to see what he does through the rest of this year.
Yeah.
But he's going to demand big money from a team that basically has only one real offensive centerman.
That's the thing, right? They're
They're
a
in a
little
jam.
bit, they're a little bit in a jam when you look at what he can ask for. I mean, to me, that 2.8 to 7, what a huge jump. But yeah, you look at what they have down the middle and the time that they've put in and the effort that they've put into Galchenyuk to get him into that centerman position, and their hands are tied a little bit.
And remember, it's Bergey's first draft pick as a GM, so he certainly wants to see him succeed, and he's going to have to pay him, though. That's the thing.
I'd like to be his agent. You're holding all the cards; they're holding none. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas Plekanec didn't score on Tuesday night versus Anaheim. It's worth noting, though, that he had 2 assists in the previous 2 games to that, but he only has 7 points for the year. Do you think Therrien should make him a healthy scratch?
I don't. I think you got to keep him in there. Again, you need a centerman that can win some faceoffs for you.
Yeah.
Galchenyuk is terrible in the faceoff circle. People complain about his ice time. Oh, he's only getting 17, 18 minutes. Well, be better in the faceoff dot. Be better in your own end, and you may get some more time. But the fact of the matter is, Thomas Plekanec plays against the big lines. He does a job that a lot of people just don't see. People look at stats. Goals and assists, and it's not all about goals and assists.
Yeah, I don't think he's having a bad season at all. He's getting heavy minutes. He was close to 18, 19 minutes in Anaheim against those big, strong centermen. That's what he does. And, at the end of the day, his points are almost a bonus because he's got to do so many other things.
Yeah, and you certainly don't think that he's deserving of that type of benching. You know what I mean? Like I'm always
Be different
a
if he
little
was
bit
floating.
wary.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you got to pick your spots for that kind of a benching punishment. And yeah, he's such a useful guy for them. And yeah, I think they're 21st in faceoffs, so they kind of need him right now as far as trying to hang on to the puck.
Yeah, because he's by far their best face-off guy on the ice.
Well, Torrey's good too.
Yeah, Mitchell's good too.
Okay. We'll be back next Thursday at 8 a.m. like always. If you haven't already, hit the little subscribe button on your screen and subscribe to us. Leave comments in the comment section below. And don't forget to email us your questions for our panel, because we'll use it if it's good. Thanks for joining us, Habs fans. See you next Thursday.